Dangerous. That's the first word that comes to mind when thinking about the blistering defense of this year's Dallas Cowboys. Carrying the team through a stint with the backup QB, this defense has every right to consider themselves one of the best in the league, continuously harassing quarterbacks and making life a painful struggle for opposing offenses on Sundays. A strong unit last year, this squad has taken their game to a whole nother level, becoming even more dominant in the rush, more disciplined in the secondary, and even more creative schematically. Let's dive in and see what makes them just so frightening. The best unit in the league, the Cowboys' pass rush is breaking game plans before they can even start. Leading the league in pressure rate, there's always someone invading the backfield, never allowing the offense to gain any rhythm. Let's start with the leader of the pack, and one of the most feared defenders in the league, Micah Parsons. The most important aspect of his game is his quickness. Truly a step above everybody else, it forces defenders to set wide or risk being embarrassed around the edge. Attacking Havenstein here with speed and rip move. He's around the edge so fast, Darrell Henderson can't even get over the chip, crashing into Stafford in just 2.5 seconds, stripping the ball out and sealing the win for the Cowboys. The threat of getting whooped around the edge forces tackles to set their kick step deeper and wider, and this opens up the move back inside. But even by Parsons standards, this one is special. Watch him sell the edge hard, dipping real low as if he's trying to get under the tackle's punch and turn the corner. But feeling Taylor Decker overcommit and throw the punch early, Parsons gets his inside arm under Decker's inside shoulder, grabbing a hold and slingshotting himself inside. Goff does a fantastic job to spin out of the wrap, but Parsons will not be denied, hustling for the tap tackle sack. His bend and balance mean that no matter the position he finds himself in, he's only 1 pounce away from causing chaos. Facing a former teammate, Lyle Collins knows he's got to set up hard for Parsons' speed, but he gets too square here, allowing Parsons to one-hand shove him clear of the path. A fantastic 180 recovery here from Collins allows him to get back to Parsons and knock him away from Burrow, but watch Parsons' ridiculous balance. Collins gets a good piece of him, but Parsons just absorbs the impact, sticking his right foot in the turf and catapulting himself back into Burrow. It really should not be possible to change direction that quickly, especially after a dude just blocked you. That's some sick shit. He's always after the ball too, never satisfied with just a sack, always trying to rip down and get the ball back. More speed to beat Decker here, and this is exactly what he was worried about earlier in the game, as Parsons simply disregards his block attempt, homing into Goff and strips the ball clean to seal yet another game. Single coverage on Parsons just does not work. We think we've made that pretty clear, and this is of huge benefit to the rest of the line, as teams are forced to slide protections his way, opening up single matchups or even free lanes. Here's an exaggerated version against the Rams with all 3 players on the right side of the line locking their attention onto Parsons post-snap, leaving a free rushing lane for DeMarcus Lawrence. Stafford is forced to bail immediately, and there's Parsons reading it perfectly, jumping wide of the double team and helping clean up the sack. He might have gone unblocked on a busted protection on the last snap, but offensive coordinators absolutely view DeMarcus Lawrence as a premier defensive end, and the tape backs this up. He gave Evan Neal his welcome to the NFL moment on Monday Night Football, whipping him for 3 sacks, the first of which was our favorite. Setting him up with the crossover, Lawrence swipes away the attempted engagement, flying in to drag down Jones. And this is a run play, but we can't just not show it. Down on the goal line, the Lions are going to try to punch it in with power, and by all accounts should have the blocking and numbers to get the yard. That is, until Lawrence has his say, swimming the extra tackle before holding off the tight end, then engaging the lead blocker and Jamal Williams to blow this up. Oh, and he got the ball out. That's 1 block avoided, 2 blocks destroyed, and 1 ball back, please. According to Next Gen Stats, Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are the 7th and 8th most double-teamed edge defenders in 2022, leaving coordinators puzzled with how to hold the boys at bay and leaving everyone else in one-on-ones. Offseason pickup Dante Fowler has made big splashes when allowed to tee off, pulling out a couple of textbook swim moves for sacks this season. Watch how he makes sure to press the edge hard to sell the speed rush, dipping and engaging with his shoulder as if he's trying to bend the edge. Then, as soon as he feels the push, pirouetting back inside, extending his left arm to guide his momentum around his man and pit him out of the play. Honestly, Dwight Freeney would be proud. Second on the team in sacks and a big contributor in the rush has been Dorrance Armstrong. He's the third edge in the rotation when Lawrence or Parsons need a breather, or an excellent accomplice in big pass rushing situations when Quinn gets the NASCAR package on. More on that later. Here, he's moved inside to play against the Rams' run scheme where Cowboys have adopted the 6-1 front, or 7-1 front in this case, that's helped shut down the Rams' base zone run. However, this snap is actually play action. Either way, Armstrong was ending it, leaving his man in the dust with ultra-fast feet and crashing into Stafford to knock the ball loose, setting the tone early against the Rams with DeMarcus Lawrence taking it home. And remember, in the loop play, the screeners are the most dangerous threat, easily lost in the shuffle. Armstrong lays a great pick block on Jason Kelce, and as Philadelphia scrambles to contain, Isaac Samalu gets out of position, leaving Armstrong a path to Hurts. And one last name to mention who stood out in the pass rushing department is rookie second rounder Sam Williams, who has flashed hard in his last 2 games, producing this beautiful strip sack and recovery on Goff, all in one motion. Shout out to the rookie. Generating this level of rush with just a 4-man pressure allows defensive coordinator Dan Quinn to play an aggressive man scheme on the back end. Last year, they were a strong but heavy gambling unit that was ultra susceptible to a big play. This year, however, they've tightened things up, both in discipline and coverage. Nowhere better can this be seen than with the advancement in Trevon Diggs' game. Now, he's a chancer at heart, so he's still going to get beat occasionally going for the game flipper, but his overall coverage has taken another step, as has his discipline. Here's some coaching tape you can use to teach your corners, because this is step for step perfect on the slant route. He matches Higgins' outside jab in case of the boundary release, then opens up his hips to chase when T heads inside, getting on his hip and one hand onto Higgins' back to feel his positioning. As soon as he feels the cut, Diggs gets his eyes back to Burrow looking for the ball, diving in front when he sees the release, maintaining one hand on Higgins' back ready for the tackle in case he misses the bat down. That's what you call perfect play. More nice footwork here on the double move from last Sunday's game. They're gonna try to take a shot at Diggs' discipline with the fake post fade, but Diggs makes sure not to bite too hard, matching his man step for step in and out of the double move. Then, watch the fantastic work here to not get caught out on the underthrow, opening his hips to the ball and turning with it, rather than turning the other way and losing track of the flight. And this Goff duck is gonna go the other way. It's not just him though. You've got to be a strong unit if you're going to commit to this much man, and Anthony on the other side has played strong too. Watch this great snap against Jamar Chase, who's running a sticks boundary curl. On his hip step for step throughout the route, pouncing on the ball when it's delivered. Now that's how you do it. Now in his second year implementing his scheme, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn has been able to add some extra flair to help rattle some QBs. While still favoring man coverage, Quinn has added more surprise roll zone to throw off quarterbacks and tendencies. They played a fair amount of Tampa 2 last year, but this year they're doing a great job to disguise it, signaling his stock man one high, then making the QB do a double take. Here on 3rd and long, the Cowboys are showing what appears to be single high man. 2 extra guys walked up to the line. We've discussed why they only need 4 to get home, and again, that's all they send. But man coverage was just a show, with everyone shifting on the snap to form a Tampa 2. The coverage is not what Burrow was expecting, and the rush forces him off the spot and into scramble mode before he can see the correct reads in the flat. Here, against the Commanders, they're again going to signal man pre-snap, following the motion and closing the middle of the field with a single high. But on the snap, Van Der Esch will blitz, and both Barr and Parsons will drop from the edges as the secondary inverts into a Tampa 2. The line wasn't ready for the inside rush, and Wentz is in the turf before he can throw a disaster pick. And it doesn't have to be Tampa. Here they roll into a cover 3, which is a better protection against the trips formation, again sending Van Der Esch on the blitz. Sanders and Sumalo get away with the missed hold call of the year, but the pressure makes Hurts float this, and Parsons bats it down and flexes on him. In long, obvious passing situations, Quinn has got his NASCAR package on the field and broken out the muddle blitz. That's all 4 top defensive ends, no D tackles, standing everybody up in 2-point stances, giving virtually no signal who's coming and who's going. Goff wisely rushes this out of his hand, and the Cowboys rally fast for no gain. And just because you're showing man doesn't mean you have to play it. Here's an almost identical look against Washington, but Dallas will actually drop to form a Tampa 2. Wentz misjudges this one, what's new, and the ball's going back the other way. All schemes, no matter how well designed or played, have weaknesses of course, and the Cowboys remain human. Teams who want to play aggressive man coverage can often find themselves being their own worst enemies, with secondary players forced to collide through clever pick plays and rub concepts. Take this play for example. Tyler Higbee will come in motion to form a bunch, and Jaron Kearse will follow him, indicating man. Higbee will then run a speed out using the natural route running of the bunch to create separation between him and Kearse, and it's an easy completion for Stafford. Here's another look against the Bengals. With the Cowboys in an ultra-aggressive man coverage on 3rd and short, Tyler Boyd doesn't even need to run a good route to create traffic, and Jamar Chase is wide open to move the chains. Problems specific to the Dallas version of this scheme lie in two areas that we can see. Firstly, they play man very soft to twins formations, leaving easy passes out wide or to the slot. And they struggle to match up well with tight ends in man. Maybe this is not exactly scheme, more lacking the personnel to cover the big body threats, but this isn't an ultimatum. Most teams don't. Back to general problems, and heavy man schemes can also have a lack of support if the first man is beat. Donovan Wilson bites too hard on the posts and is unable to recover and help Diggs after a spectacular one-hander from Kupp. Roll zones and disguised defenses can also leave you susceptible to busted plays as they take greater detail to communicate, and it only takes one guy to not hear the call, or play man instead of zone, and you could be in for a disastrous result. Turning on the tape shows a formidable defensive line that is wreaking havoc on opposing backfields. New added disguises and an overall improvement in discipline has the Dallas defense playing at even higher levels than last year, helping carry the troops through the early half of the season. With Dak back, the boys look ready to roll, and with a weak NFC, who knows where the boys can reach. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for future breakdowns, and check out our latest video on the Giants defense or why the Broncos are failing to ride. Take care.